Hello everyone, this is Matthew once again. It is 6 o'clock here in Texas, and finally, after reviewing 4 of the Batman films, Tim Burton's and Joel Schumacher's, Chris Nolan's will have to be way down the road. So I will review this one day, but right now as for the month of October, I gotta review some horror movies. And this is the one that I was hoping to review, and I'm gonna do it. And with the release of Dr. Sleep supposed to come out next month, I just figured why not talk about the all-time classic from Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. Of course, with the iconic scene in the movie, "Here's Johnny!" Which, of course, I'm holding the Blu-ray right there, which, of course, this used to be my brother's copy, but now it's mine. But now he's got the box set that has all the other Kubrick films, which, of course, includes 2001: Space Odyssey, which I have my own copy of it in Ultra HD. And my brother, Jonathan, will also get another copy of this film, but this time in Ultra HD, which of course comes with the remastered Blu-ray quality, which is the Best Buy Steelbook Edition. That is all yellow, like the film's poster, and it's supposed to look like a maze, and everything says, "All work, no play makes Jack a dull boy," which we all know that in the movie. And before I talk about this film, I thought it'd be great to talk about my history with The Shining. So here's how it is. I didn't know anything about Stanley Kubrick. I didn't know anything about The Shining either. One of the most well-known memories I have of the film was the one scene in the movie where you had these two weird-looking twin sisters, where Danny's in the hallway riding his tricycle and came across them when they said, "Come play with us, Danny, forever and ever and ever." That one scene in the movie appeared in that Jan de Bont film, Twister. That was like one of those movies I remember from the film, is that shiny part in Twister, which I didn't know anything about this movie. I didn't know it existed or anything. I didn't know anything about Stanley Kubrick until when I saw 2001: Space Odyssey on HBO, and I really loved that film. And of course, later when I got to see The Shining, as well as some other Kubrick films, I actually am a big fan of Stanley Kubrick. And Stanley Kubrick is one of those filmmakers who I'm always inspired by, aside from other well-known filmmakers like Steven Spielberg and George Lucas and Alfred Hitchcock and many other directors who I really admired. And what Kubrick does with his films, he always likes to show you things without having telling them, as he's more heavy on the visual side than he is on the whole talking situation. And once you see it, you start to think. And that's what Kubrick does. He allows you to interpret it of your own mind of what you think of the film, especially what you have just witnessed. Especially with The Shining, this is one of them. And, of course, I know that Stephen King is not the biggest fan of this film, which he really hates with a passion, who dislikes the casting of Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall. Kubrick's take on the film, he may love the visuals, but doesn't like what the film is going with. And he had to remake this film in 1997 with Mick Garris, which will become a mini-series. But when that came out, it was on the same level as this. But if he likes that mini-series better, that's fine. But to me, I prefer the Kubrick version more. And now that he actually is okay with Mike Flanagan, who's the director of Oculus and Ouija Origin Evil and Gerald's Game and Hudge, he's okay with him for paying some tribute to Kubrick, as he knows, even though he doesn't understand the love for this film, he does see why when people love this film, especially they have to pay true to it, because they're always big fans with this Shining and not the miniseries. And as well, of course, I did try to read the book as well, but I guess I'm grateful I didn't read the book either. After what I just heard, it didn't sound all that great until Kubrick had to make so much changes to the story in order to make it more grounded with realism. Especially, it plays with the idea with the whole, is this real that you are seeing ghosts, or is it just all in your head? And yes, of course, infamously, there was a conflict between both Stanley Kubrick and Shelley Duvall, whether that Kubrick was just making a jerk out of himself, or his reason for doing this to her is that she could get the best performance for this role that she's playing, and Kubrick wanted to see that Shelley Duvall, that she felt like she is getting pushed. So, and before I give you my thoughts on the film, here's how the whole film came to be. Before Jack Nicholson was cast as Jack Torrance, Kubrick, on one hand, was thinking of either Robert Williams or Robert De Niro for this role, but decided against him, as he did not think both of them were right for the part, as Williams was too psychotic after seeing him in Mork and Mindy, and De Niro was not psychotic enough after seeing him in the Martin Scorsese film Taxi Driver. And some shots of the opening scene of the film where it has that boom, 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 and the Volkswagen. Some of these shots were later used for the outtakes of that scene in the Ridley Scott film Blade Runner, which of course he had to get Kubrick permission to use these shots because Warner Brothers forced Ridley Scott to film a happy ending for Blade Runner. And the film itself was well known for its use of Steadicam for next to the other films that have used the Steadicam, such as Bound for Glory, Midnight Marathon Man, and Rocky. Which, of course, speaking of Rocky, both that film and The Shining were done by Garrett Brown. And, don't know if it's true or not, John Williams was set to score for this film, but Kubrick decided to have different types of composers for the film, and especially to establish the mood of it. And the film came out on May 23rd, 1980, as the budget cost like $19 million to make. It grossed for its lifetime of $44.7 million, but when it came out, it was not as highly as acclaimed as it was. And the film itself did not gain any Oscar nominations, and not even Best Picture or Best Director or Cinematography. But instead, it actually did get nominated for 2 Razzie Awards, for Worst Director and Worst Actress. But both of them lost to Robert Greenwald for Sandu and Brooke Shields for The Blue Green. But as time went on, as now we're in the year 2019, as decade goes by, Roger Ebert will put this film on its great movie list, and to this day, it is considered one of Kubrick's cinematic masterpieces of horror films. And this film really is, which I'm holding 2 copies right now. The film is a classic, and I do think it's really fun to interpret what people saw of The Shining. Of course, they even spun a documentary called Room 237, which I have no desire of seeing that, especially people talk about what is the meaning of this and that, which I don't think I need the explanation for it. Because I think it's best if I just figure the answers out on my own, rather than having the documentary tell me anything. Of course, it was spoofed by many other well-known shows and movies, as well as it paid a tribute to it for that hotel scene in Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One. And the film itself, it really draws you in, especially where we are progressing in Jack Nicholson's character as he's diving himself into the madness, as he's always stuck in this hotel and he has to wait till May the 1st, especially all he ever cares about was just his job as a writer as opposed to not spending time with his family. Which, of course, I know that's one of the criticisms that Stephen King had, that you don't get to see a lighthearted side to Jack Nicholson's character, which is understandable, which, of course, you do get that in the miniseries. But you do get some moments like that where he actually does care about his family. Like one, for instance, is the part where Jack Nicholson's character, Jack Torrance, is talking to Shelley Duvall's character, Winnie Torrance, in bed. She's having a breakfast and starts making some funny noises to her, and she laughs. So that's one moment. And the other one is where he's having a talk with his son, played by Danny Lloyd. So you do get some moments like that, but not much to it. And as much as I respect King's opinion on it, but I would have to respectfully disagree with him every word he says about the film. Because I think Jack Nicholson, without doubt, is definitely the highlight of the movie. He is the driving force of this film. He really is phenomenal. Especially when that one moment of the film where he laughs at Lloyd, the bartender. That to me was or that he's like auditioning for the Joker. Even without this film, he would have not played the Joker, especially when he made that awesome laugh he just made. And Shelley Duvall, which I know, like I said, that she and Kubrick did not get along very well. But of course, that Shelley Duvall did say some good things about Kubrick. And Kubrick, I believe he actually did say some good things about her, despite what just happened in the film. Especially that was featured in that documentary that Steven Kubrick just filmed, which of course she is Kubrick's daughter. Like the one scene in the documentary where Shelley Duvall was supposed to come out of that hotel to check out the snow camp, but didn't come out, and then he just went, "Oh, come on, you're freezing out, you're wasting our time." Yeah, it was that one moment, and you're like, dang, it's like, what is Kubrick's deal? But I think it's probably like he was only trying to make the best performance out of her. And even when I first saw her, I was just, But as time went on, I do think she really does a really good job with her performance. And despite what the Razzies think, I say she was great. And Danny Lloyd is actually a really good child actor in this film. And this is like the only film he's ever done. And Stanley Kubrick, one of the greatest filmmakers out there, he really knows how to handle horror. And the way he sets up his shots and how he stages actors in frame, he really knows how to tell a really good story. And I thought the changes that they made for this film really worked. It really took a lot of creative liberties. I mean, just because it's different, it doesn't mean it's good, but it doesn't mean it's bad either. I mean, creative liberties is really an important task in making a movie, especially what works and what doesn't, especially when you accept this kind of interpretation for The Shining. And for Kubrick's interpretation, I think this is probably the best we've gotten so far. When you have a book, when you're like, but all of a sudden, Kubrick knows how to take this film quite seriously, and he does it the right way. And I love the choice of music that were used for this film, especially when you have Winnie Carlos, who did the score for the film before she did Tron. And especially I do like the song Midnight Stars in You, which is Peter toward that last final image shot of the film. Especially you're wondering, is he really part of the Overlook Hotel? Was he just reincarnated? It's like, it just interpreted your mind with it about when he just said, I feel like I have been here before. No, Mr. Torrance, you have always been the caretaker. As you see, I've always been here. And it's always fun to establish whether or not if you actually are seeing ghosts in this film. Even though I don't believe in ghosts, because I only believe in demons in the Bible, but that's a whole different topic. It could be possible, though, that they are ghosts that are in this world, that they are doing it. Or maybe it was actually Jack Nicholson's character who's doing it all by himself. That's because, especially I don't want to talk too much about my face, I really don't believe in ghosts. It's just that your mind makes it real, that you think that it's the ghost doing it. So it's always fun to play with the aspect with the whole thing of whether or not they are having some sort of cabin fever going on. Which, of course, when it comes to cabin fever, it could happen to y'all, especially when you're stuck in an isolated place like this. And the pacing of this film is very top-notch. Some say it draws you in a fast-paced way, or people say it's just pretty much more of a slow burner. But to me, I didn't get bored by it. I just felt like I was already sucked into this kind of world I'm in, especially we're going from Jack Torrance's character, who is trying to be sober from alcohol, but of course he just can't help it, but just goes completely psychotic, especially all he wants to do is to explode. When he's going to take it out on his kid or his wife. Wendy, I let you beat up my life so far, but I'm not going to let you beat this up. Wendy, darling of my life, I said, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains. I'm going to bash it right the beep in. When you don't have a return what the heck I'm doing, that means don't come in here. Now, you think you can handle that? Fine. So I'm going to start right now and I get the beep out of here. But yeah, there's not much I can say about The Shining, but if you have not seen The Shining, even if I actually did spoil those things, like one of us the ending, then go check it out. It's available now on Blu-ray and Ultra HD. This is a classic Kubrick film, and I love this movie from beginning to end, and to this day, it is one of Kubrick's best films. I really don't know which one's my favorite, either this or Two Out of My Space. I need to decide my own, but it is definitely one of my favorite horror films. You know, I do love Friday the 13th, but I do think this is the better horror film, especially it's much more well directed. Claimed did fine, but I wish that he would have done things better with it in terms of the script writing process and maybe what he would have done to make, well, if possible, make a masterpiece of horror film like this, or John Carpenter's Halloween, or Hitchcock's Psycho. So, I love Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, and if I ever would give a grade rating for this film, it really does earn itself an A+. If you have not seen the film, please feel free to check it out. I highly recommend this film, and I'm looking forward to see Dr. Sleep when it comes out next month. So, that's my review of The Shining, and now my next one is going to be the Edgar Wright horror comedy classic, Shaun of the Dead. Let me know what you think of this video. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know. Feel free to put your comments down below, and don't forget the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Take care. And I will be back for my review of Shaun of the Dead.